Welcome to Movement Under the Microscope, and thank you all for coming. The performance you're about to see is a collaboration between Professor Morgan DeSantis MCDB 401 students from the Department of Molecular, Cellular, and Developmental Biology, Professor Tzveta Kassabova's Movement 3 students from the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, and the University of Michigan's Museum of Natural History, with music by Michael Wall. For these students, Movement Under the Microscope is just one of fall semester's class projects, but it was possibly the most challenging. They were asked to step outside of their comfort zones and work with other students who approach problem solving, learning, and the biggest questions about life from a very different perspective. I think you'll agree that they rose to the challenge. We hope you enjoy this performance as much as we enjoyed creating it. We hope that you learn a thing or two about cell biology. But most importantly, we hope to provide a window into what is possible when scientists and artists work together and embrace different ways of knowing.
Our cells, the building blocks of life. With over 30 trillion cells in the human body, there are more cells inside you right now than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Your cells make up your everything. Your eyes, your skin, your heart, your lungs, your brain. You are your cells, and your cells are you. Maybe you've heard of the nucleus, the command center within a cell that contains our genetic information. There are the mighty mitochondria that create energy and the ribosomes that build proteins. But also inside our cells is a network of even smaller structures that allow cells to move. You may be standing still, but in the microscopic vastness of your body, your cells are moving. How does a cell move? Can it shoot across your body like a shooting star streaks through the sky? Does it wander or move with a purpose? And what happens when a cell needs to move nutrients or waste within itself? What moves inside of your cells? Peer into the microscope with us as we uncover the secret movement of cells.
The first secret to cell movement is a busy little protein called actin. Our cells are made up of many proteins, but actin are the most abundant and the most active. These worker bees of the cellular hive float freely in the cell until it's time to move something, but they can't do it alone. Watch as a single actin joins with another to form the beginning of a fiber that can be used for many modes of cellular locomotion. The fiber grows and grows as more actin add onto the front end, like the links of a growing chain. But chains can and will be broken. In our cell, the filament achieves its goal. Individual actin begin to fall off the backside of the fiber, returning to the cytoplasm of the cell to bind again and again as the need arises. The actin inside of your cells, inside of your body, inside of this room, inside of this world keep going, performing the perpetual motion of life.
Another prominent protein in cell movement is tubulin. Named for the hollow fibers it forms, tubulin proteins and actin proteins have something in common. They build bigger, better structures for our cells and make movement possible. Microtubules, the round, hollow fibers formed by tubulin, serve as a skeletal system for living cells. Just like your skeleton provides structure for your body and helps you move, microtubules form a strong yet flexible framework called the cytoskeleton within the cell. Watch as individual tubulins combine and roll upward to form a hollow tube. After growing, they quickly fall to the ground, rapidly shrinking and curling outward, like peeling a banana. Through this process, microtubules have the ability to shift and morph into different formations, creating vast highways for cellular transport and ultimately allowing the cell to divide.
A vast highway of microtubules crosses every living cell of your body, strengthening your cells and giving them shape. These protein pathways provide a network for transporting cargo within the cell. Cargo like nutrients and waste. Like pedestrians on a busy sidewalk or cars on a road, motor proteins carry their cargo using the microtubules. Here we have two types of motor proteins, dynein and kinesin. Kinesin waddles along the microtubule, taking short, consistent steps in one direction, while dynein walks like a tightrope walker, randomly alternating between short and long steps, moving cargo along the microtubules in the opposite direction. Motor proteins like dynein and kinesin are the farriers of cellular goods. Together, they carry the stuff of the cell, everything our cell needs to function, in the world's smallest, most important delivery service. Inside the cell, microtubules and actin filaments are constantly rearranging and helping every cell in your body do its job. But our cells are not stationary. When you scrape your knee and new skin grows, your cells are moving. Before a cell can move, it needs to figure out where its front end is and where its back end is. Watch closely as the round cell in front of you receives chemical signals from its environment and begins to decide which is heads and which is tails. At the front of the cell, the cytoskeleton begins to stretch out, elongating in a single direction. The cell looks like it's reaching for something we can't see. Actin fibers form a web-like structure that grow at the front of the cell. Meanwhile, the rest of the cell must stay grounded on the surface it moves along. Sticky parts of the cell, called focal adhesions, keep the cell anchored while the back of the cell catches up to the front. Snap! In one fluid motion, the cell returns to its original shape, but it is crept forward, ready to move again. As we grow taller, when our cuts scab over, our cells are on the move. Right now, a whole procession of cells is parading down the main street of your beautiful, dynamic body.
One of the most important cellular motions is cell division. One cell becoming two. Split. 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 From the conception of life to the spread of cancer, the biggest changes we go through begin with the smallest movements. Inside our cells, chromosomes safeguard our genetic information, or DNA. When the time comes for a cell to divide, it must first copy its genetic material. Microtubules, shown here as ribbons, begin to shoot out from a central point on both sides of the cell. One by one, the microtubules make contact with a chromosome, and together they pull the chromosomes into a line down the middle of the cell. From that center line, the cell is poised to divide. In one swift movement, the microtubules tug apart each chromosome pair, pulling them to opposite sides of the cell and letting go.
Our cells. They are often described as the building blocks of life, but blocks are solid, while cells are soft. Blocks are rigid, where cells can form. Perhaps our cells are better described as actors, poised on the stage of our bodies. Perhaps our cells are dancers, ready to move together in the choreography of life.